We are here to talk about the new electronic system. I'm James, and
I'm your boy, Lindy.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the PDPs because this is one of the very major changes this year, switching over to the Rev power distribution panel. So first thing is I very much like it has a battery readout that lights up at all times when the power's on. That's really nice for just seeing what it's at without having to go in any software or anything. They have a new kind of push terminal that are different than the ones that CTRE used and are significantly better. They protect the wire a lot better, and it's a little harder for debris to get into, it seems.
It's also easier to use.
Yeah. They're about the same to use, I would say.
I like it.
Yeah, they're nice.
Move bias.
I also like they put a terminating resistor switch on instead, so you don't have to deal with there's this little slide-on connector that's kind of hard to see, but it just slides over the pins and shorts them that would always get lost. Breakers-wise, I like the different colors. Makes it super easy to see what they are. One issue I found is that's a little hard to see from there, but one of our breakers, the housing is popping off of, so it'll be interesting to see, which is not really something because of how the housing is one piece and then a top cap. It is a lot harder for these to pull off, and so I've never had an issue with that, but I've only pulled this in and plugged it a couple times now, and the housing's already coming off, so that could be a concern. The Wago toolless connectors are really nice. Gonna have a little bit of pinching fingers, of course, but super convenient not having to deal with that even on the main battery input. Those are loud, but it's really nice. Just not USB-C input on the RoboRIO is a game, or on the PDP is a game changer.
Huge.
It makes it so much easier because you're able to troubleshoot all of the channels. Also going up to 20 channels with all of them being 40 amp capable, because in my experience, while you do not always need the 40 amp on every channel, there are times where it's nice to have that headroom and to just be able to, for example, you start out with 40 amp and then realize you need to have it only be able to pull 20 just for loading purposes. There's a lot more capacity to just pull out the breaker, swap in a 10 or 20 amp. And so Rev has 10 amp breakers, 20, 30, and then the orange 40 amp breakers. And it's really nice because they're all able to go in any slot you want on the PDP. And then there are 4 smaller channels that use the automotive fuses that are 10 and 15 amp is what was provided in the kit, which are these small red ones, and then 15, and then they have 15 amp blue ones. And it's really nice not having to have a separate I forget what that one, VRM, the voltage regulator module. It's nice not having to deal with that because it was only ever really used for the radio, and then you kind of just used it as a breakout for the smaller connectors. So that's been really convenient. And then just, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice not having to deal with the Wago tool. That was always a pain, and you'd always mess with stuff. You want that. And so then next minor change, but Rev now makes a radio power module, which is just a really simple PoE injector to use. So you just very clearly labeled Wi-Fi radio side and RoboRIO side, plug it right into the Ethernet on both, and then plug in the 12 volt power straight out of the PDP, and you're golden. Because while the RoboRIOs or the radios have supported the PoE for a long time, never something that was fully used. So just absolutely huge to have that. And then Radio, same as before as far as I know. This is the one we have currently. Believe it's the same radio this year, and I haven't had too many problems with it, so it's been nice. Next, we will talk about the new RoboRIOs. So the new RoboRIO has a few changes. For one, it has red USB ports, which do not appear to be 3.0 capable. They appear to still be 2.0 capable, but it's got a significantly upgraded processor. It is a fair amount heavier, is one major change. And then pretty much else, all of the connectors are still the same on it. They switched out having the screw terminals next to the USB-A ports, which I never really knew of anyone using. They switched that out for an SD card slot that holds the firmware, and it does, in fact, I was not sure at first if it was a sprung port, but it does appear to be a sprung port, and then still the same classic USB Type B that you use for formatting the bootloader. The SD card port's a little hard to use, but you manage. Then the same resetting user buttons and the same port so that you can plug in something like, for example, the NavX, which is, nice with the same screw terminals there. So it's fully backwards compatible as far as I know, just with that added processing power, which will be really nice. So there are those. Oh, and one thing that I really liked that they included, this is just a small thing with the PDP, the Rev PDP. They included a much longer USB-C cable versus the normal 1-foot ones. Just really nice to not have to, because when you're in the robot, you're always having to keep the laptop super close then. Just inconvenient. So, SparkMaxes. Using these again. We'll be using them some for for the Neos and Neo 550s. The SparkMax I have a love-hate relationship with from my previous experience. The USB-C is nice. You end up using it a lot because I've had a lot of issues with the firmware over time. But I do like how they, with the swappable CAN cable, that's a nice function of it. Interesting.
Yeah.
So an upgrade, these are new ones, and there's a difference of, they now have the jumper integrated into the cable instead of the jumper for the CAN bus loop instead of being internal. So I'd be interested to know what internal changes have been made. Then Neo 550s and Neos classic.
Yeah. And the Spark, the box got a nice diagram there on the inside showing you all that works.
Oh, yeah, they have the wiring information. Again.
Nice to put that in there.
Yeah, that's good. So then the PCM, I like that we have the new Rev PCM here. I like how they have digital and analog pressure sensor options, so you can use either. The compressor port, not sure about this. It should be fine. I'll have to see. Haven't gotten to really do much testing. I like they've switched the 12 and 24 volt switch to being just a toggle switch instead of a jumper again. And it is hidden enough that it should be pretty easy to prevent yourself from switching it on accident. Then CAN bus connectors, same as the other one. This one goes up to 16 channels instead of 8, which is really nice for not having to have multiple PCMs, and better style of connectors. Has USB-C now, which is great for, I know for a fact I used it for firmware updating so far. I believe it is also, you're able to use it to control the solenoids, which would be nice for there was some challenges with the older CTRE systems. That one might have some metal shavings. Interesting. Much nicer to just be able to control it in the USB interface if you don't have code set up for whatever reason. And like the form factor a little better. It fits a little better with solenoid blocks just in between and takes up a nicer footprint. About the same total footprint though. RSL, same as before. Little note on this, still, this jumper still bothers me that we have to deal with that, but it works. Limelight 2, big fan. Works very well. It has the USB-A port, as well as power in and the Ethernet, which is PoE capable. So that's really nice when you have a Limelight and you have the PoE injector capable, or you have a network switch with PoE. Don't have to deal with having separate power running to it. Then, yes, Falcon 500s. I have not actually gotten to work with these personally yet, but from everything I've seen, they seem super nice. Really convenient having the integrated motor controller, so you just connect in the CAN bus and you're good to go. But we'll see. And then I guess the last thing is just that we're using these little CAN bus boards, possibly. Never used them before. They seem interesting. We'll see how they go. Yeah, that's been this. I don't have a lot of other thoughts. This is the review of the new electronic system.
It's going to be lit.